I'm holding in my hand what would appear to be the most boring things you could ever think of. They're tan.
Boring.
They grow in the ground.
Boring.
They're oval.
Boring.
But what I'm gonna show you today is how to turn this ordinary bowl of russet potatoes into the most delicious mashed potatoes you'll ever have. I'm gonna show you the techniques. I'm gonna show you how to make it perfect. Take that box of powdered shit and throw it away. You don't need it anymore. This is just as easy as that, and that comes out tasting like garbage. These come out tasting so delicious, you'll never make powdered potatoes again. So let's get started. I'm Dave. You know you're watching Dave's Taste Buds, so welcome back. I got a back to basics episode today, guys. Mashed potatoes, light, fluffy, nostalgic, creamy, salty, peppery, garlicky. You can do a bunch of stuff with potatoes. This recipe that I'm going to show you is the most basic. We're talking, I just went and grabbed 3 pounds of russet potatoes, gave them a wash. I'm not even going to peel them. I like the flavor of the skin, and the skin is where all the nutrients come from too. So you can peel them if you want, but you don't have to. Now, to cut back on time, like I always try to do, you could boil these things whole, but you're looking at 18, 20, 22, 25 minutes just to get these where you want. So what I like to do is I just like to cut them up into the most uniform cubes that I can get them into my boiling salted water, and get them cooked off as fast as I can. So I'm gonna take a second, and I'm gonna show you. I mean, I don't dice them up really small, and I don't go too crazy, but I do like to make sure that they're at least fairly uniform. That way they cook evenly. You don't want some to cook, a lot, and some to cook not that much. It's just gonna change the texture of it. I mean, it's gonna depend on the size, how much you cut them. I mean, quite frankly, we're gonna cook them, we're gonna cook them until they're fork tender. We're gonna take them out, we're gonna drain them, get all the water out of there, and then we're just gonna mash the out of these things anyway.
Easy, big fella.
So you don't have to go too crazy making sure all, and you're never gonna get all the sides the same with something that's the shape of an oval. I mean, you're always gonna have pieces in the middle that are this big, and you're gonna have the smaller pieces on the end. So you're not gonna be able to do it. So I just like to cut them up into, it's a size that kind of looks like that. So I'm gonna take a couple minutes. I'm gonna get these cut up, and I'm gonna get it into this boiling water. I like to start with boiling water. You just gotta be careful getting your potatoes in there. You don't wanna splash yourself, you don't wanna burn yourself, you definitely don't wanna get scalded. Do me a favor, just hit that subscribe button. It just helps me out a little bit, supports the channel, kinda helps out the algorithm. Hit like. I'm gonna cut up these potatoes. I'm gonna put plenty of salt in this water too, because the salt's gonna draw right into the potato through the water. I'm gonna get all these cut up, I'm gonna get them into the water. I'm gonna let them cook for 10-12 minutes. I'm gonna take them out, I'm gonna drain them, and then I'm gonna have them right back here. We're gonna add the other ingredients. I'm gonna show you how to mash them up, get them perfect, get them light and fluffy. So sit tight. Ready? Here we go. Okay, so now that we've got our potatoes cooked off and drained, 3 pounds of russet potatoes in the boiling water, salted boiling water. It took about, 12, 14 minutes, I think, to get them how I want. And you wanna get them what's called fork tender. Way to tell while they're in the water, just scoop one out, take your fork, just kind of put it in it. Make sure it kind of goes through it. That's all you want. You don't want it too hard. You also don't want it too soft. So, drain them, let them sit, make sure all the moisture gets out of it, back into the pan, because this is so much easier to do when they're hot. I have an entire stick of butter here. I'm gonna put most of it in here. I'm gonna wait, probably save a couple of pats for the top. I'm gonna throw that in there. Let that melt for a minute or two. Now this is the hardest part of the whole thing, is actually getting it mashed. It's not easy, the pan's a little bit hot. Masher. Just give it a couple little mashes just to get it started. It's gonna get easier once we start adding the milk and the sour cream, but I'm gonna get that started just a little bit, just kind of get it mushed down like that. You see that? Just get it started.
You couldn't be harder on those potatoes.
Half a cup of milk going in. You can also use, if you want to go crazy, you can use cream. Sometimes I usually use a mixture of milk and cream. Sour cream, same thing, half a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in here too. You can also use creme fraiche, which is nice. It's a little bit more expensive. It's just not quite as acidic. Other than that, it does pretty much the same thing. Let's go ahead. Is that cooled down? All right. And then it's really just a matter of, you know, just mashing it. Start on the outside, mash it down, pull it to the middle. Spin it, just gets a little easier and easier as you go. Oh yeah. You can tell, they get nice and creamy, fluffy. There's all different kinds of potato mashers. There's some like this that have a lot of ridges in it. There's some that don't have as many. There's, you know, you could also do this in your stand-up mixer. Sorry, if you were doing a bunch of potatoes, let's say it's Thanksgiving, or you're doing a big holiday meal, or just a big meal in general, you could use that. You could use a food mill, drop them in, kind of turn it around. It's a handheld thing, kind of mashes it up. It's a lot of different ways, but as you can see, when these are done, they are so good. That's looking really good. Tablespoon, chopped garlic, and then it's really just, you know, a healthy amount of salt and pepper. Like I always say, have a couple of tasting spoons around. Taste as you go, because you can always, that was loud. You can always add more salt and pepper. You can always add most of anything, but you can't add less. Once it's in there, it is in there. So I'm gonna twirl this around a little, mash this up. Oh, it smells so good. Go. See what we got. It's decent. Needs more salt. Gotta get used to your grinder. This is pink Himalayan sea salt. Tends to give it some nice flavor. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh. That's it. Creamy, fluffy. Got our bowl here. Get out of the way. We're just going to transfer this right into our bowl. Ready for serving. Oh yeah. Light, fluffy, yet creamy at the same time. It's got that buttery flavor. You can taste the garlic in there. This is actually quite a bit. 3 pounds of russet potatoes makes a lot. I also like using Yukon Gold. Every once in a while, I really like using Red Bliss. Certainly leave the skins on for that. Look at that. Holy smokes. Yeah, you can feed a lot of people with that. I'm gonna top this off. A couple of pats of butter, drop that, push it in there, let it start to melt a little bit.
That's mint.
You serve this with some meatloaf, a side of corn. Oh, you use this on top of, I got another episode coming out. It may already be out. Shepherd's pie, same thing. Topped with mashed potatoes. All mashed potatoes end up being used for something. So, I want to thank you for watching. I want to show you this, show you that, get a good look at that above camera. Oh, yeah, that butter's gonna melt. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, thanks for watching. I got fantastic videos out there too. I got this one up here. I got a whole list of them down here. Do me a favor though, please like, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out, supports the algorithm when you like it. Leave a comment. I reply to every single comment that I get personally, so after you're done with all that, go cook something.